Hi, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're going to be making Mediterranean chicken, which is a recipe that I invented. And the whole purpose of my meals this week is to do one pot or one bowl recipes so that they're easy to prepare. You can do it all in one place, pop it in the oven, and you're done. So let's do a close-up so you can see the ingredients that I'm going to put in my Mediterranean chicken. So this recipe has a lot of fresh herbs. That's the whole point of this recipe. It's fresh and it's easy. The first ingredient is gonna be 2 tablespoons of fresh chopped parsley. This is one of the most controversial statements I made in I think week 2 of my videos is that, actually it was week 1, it was the second cooking video. I like curly parsley. I think it has better flavor. So this is 2 tablespoons of curly parsley that I've chopped. Then we have 2 teaspoons of fresh dill. And I'll show you what fresh dill looks like. Fresh dill looks like this. And in order to prepare it, you're just gonna pull these leaves off. The stems on these smaller leaves are pretty tender, so you don't have to worry too much. So you're gonna pull these off and chop those. Then we have a teaspoon of fresh chopped thyme. That's going in, and that looks like this. And to prepare the thyme, you just pull back on the stem like this, and your thyme leaves are gonna come off. It's okay if I got a little extra in there. And it's important to know this kind of stuff because I really do encourage you to use fresh herbs. They're gonna add a lot of flavor to your dishes. And then the last herb we're adding is a teaspoon of fresh chopped oregano. And fresh oregano, if you haven't used it before, looks like this. And you're gonna treat it similarly to how you did the thyme, where you're just gonna grab this and you can pull the leaves and chop those. Next ingredient is 1 garlic clove that I have smashed, and I'm just gonna pop it out of its little wrapper. You just take your clove, smash on the top with a knife, and then the garlic clove will pop out. You can chop, if you want a much more intense garlic flavor, you can chop this up. For me personally, I feel like garlic is really overused, and if you put tons of cloves of garlic in something, you can't necessarily taste the other flavors. So you will still taste the garlic when it's in this way, but it's gonna marry much better, in my opinion, with the other flavors. Then we have a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. It's gonna add a nice zestiness. And in the recipe, I believe that I say a tablespoon of lemon juice and 2 teaspoons of zest. Just so you know, that's basically the zest and juice of 1 lemon. So that's all going in. Then we've got 1 teaspoon of honey. This isn't meant to be a super sweet recipe, so I did not want to put a lot of honey in this. And that is why it is not, you know, a tablespoon or whatever. It adds a really nice background flavor, but again, the purpose is not to have this be overly sweet. And I'm gonna just get my finger in here because sometimes in these little measuring spoons, the stuff gets stuck and it's a lot easier. The next ingredient is a teaspoon and a half of salt. And I'm lucky enough that my measuring spoon actually has this half tablespoon measuring, which is exactly a teaspoon and a half. So there's 3 teaspoons per tablespoon. So that's the salt going in. If you don't like salt, I like stuff fairly seasoned. If you don't like it like that, you can cut the salt back. But we are gonna do 6 chicken thighs in this recipe today. And then this is 1/3 of a cup of olive oil. And that's our last ingredient that's going in here before we put in the chicken. And I'm gonna mix this together with a fork. That's kind of how I prefer. It's almost like you're making a salad dressing, a very herby salad dressing. But you just wanna make sure that you get everything mixed together thoroughly before you put the chicken in. We are gonna give the chicken a good bath in here too. And it's going to taste absolutely delicious. Just wait till you guys try this with crusty bread. So good. Okay, that's pretty thoroughly mixed. Like, this isn't, you know, this is not rocket science. None of my recipes are meant to be things where I expect you to follow them exactly. You can play around with them, please do. Please experiment with the ingredients, with the proportions, come up with stuff that you like. All right, here comes the chicken. I have 6 bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs. And you might be asking, why am I using bone-in when it's easier to do boneless, to eat boneless, I guess you could say? Well, anything with a bone in it is gonna have a ton more flavor. I can guarantee that for you. It's also gonna stay a lot more moist in the oven, and bonus, it's also a lot cheaper to buy bone-in thighs or breasts. You could also absolutely do a whole chicken that's been cut up for this recipe, but you can just go to the Papa store, buy some chicken thighs, throw them in here. You don't have to think about it. So I'm just gonna coat these in the sauce. We're gonna toss them around, make sure all of the nooks and crannies of everything is gotten coated. And then we are going to let this sit in its marinade for 30 minutes. And then I'm gonna pop this in a 375-degree oven for at least an hour to 70 or 80 minutes. It depends on how much chicken you have. It depends on how hot your oven is. And it depends on the type of dish that you're using, because if you're using a tighter dish, it's gonna cook more slowly. I'm gonna show you what this looks like after it's done marinating for 30 minutes, and then we will pop it in the oven. Our chicken has been marinating now for 30 minutes. I'm gonna give it a quick toss just to recoat everything with this delicious marinade. You guys, wait till you taste this. It smells so good already. I'm very excited about this one. All right, I'm gonna put this in a 375-degree oven for between 60 and 80 minutes. I'm gonna check it at an hour and see how it is. It's really gonna depend on how hot your oven is, how much chicken you're doing at one time, and what your container depth is. So just keep an eye on it, and I will see you guys in a little bit. So the chicken is about 55 minutes in, and you can see it's getting a nice golden brown color on the top, but I know from experience it's not quite done. So I'm gonna give it another 10 minutes or so. All right, I'm excited. The chicken just came out of the oven. It is brown and bubbly. You can see that skin is all crispy. I'm gonna let it cool off for just a minute, and then we're gonna have a taste. I can't wait. Okay, the chicken is done. I have it here with some crusty bread that I toasted, and you know that is the part that I'm going to taste first, because bread with sauce, I mean, This recipe, you guys, I'm telling you, it's lemony and herby and scrumptious, and I know the chicken's good because I've had it before. I really hope you guys try this. It's so good. You're gonna go through a lot of bread if you make this recipe. But please be sure to check this out and all of my other recipes on thegamblingchef.com. And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. I'll see you next time.